We're on Yevamot, Perek Dalet, Mishnah, that second Mishnah in the fourth chapter of Yevamot. So in our last Mishnah, we talked about what happens if you do chalitza, but it turns out the woman was pregnant and had a child, or the child is viable or not viable, and whether that chalitza is tofes, whether she's a chalitza or not, and the halachic ramifications. Here we have the opposite case. Hakones et Yevimto. Standard case, Ruvain and Shimon are brothers, okay, and then Ruvain dies, but Shimon, instead of doing chalitza, Shimon does Yibbum. We'll make it green. He does Yibbum. Shimon marries her. But then, and it turns out, she had a child. Fruma was pregnant. We didn't know. He did Yibbum. He married her. He consummated the Yibbum. But it turns out she was pregnant. She was never a candidate for Yibbum. So therefore, remember we learned that if she's not a candidate for Yibbum, she has the halachic status of Eshet Achiv, of her brother's wife, which is an Isur D'Oraita. What do you do then? It says the Mishnah, turns out she had been pregnant and she gave birth. If the baby is viable, Yotzi, he has to give her divorce because he's not allowed to have married her. And they have to, both of them have to bring a korban. They didn't do it on purpose, but they violated the Isur. He had relations with his brother's wife, meaning brother's wife, and the din of the brother's wife is even after he's no longer alive. When there is no mitzvah, and the Yibbum, if there's a mitzvah of Yibbum, she doesn't have a child, then the Isur of Eshetach goes away. But if there is a child, then the Isur of Eshetach, the prohibition of Eshetach, remains. V'avlad kasher, the Vlad, the child is his brother's child. It's not his child, because the woman was pregnant before they got married. That's no problem. So he has to divorce her. He has to give her a divorce. Okay, I don't know what color to use. He gives her a divorce. I don't think that's a divorce color, but whatever. Okay, and the child is no problem. On the other hand, if the child, lo aleinu, God forbid, dies, if the child was stillborn, then it turns out that she wasn't have a viable pregnancy. Ruvain never did have children, and Yibbum is good Yibbum, so he can leave her. He should be married to her. They should have a child. Safek ben tisha l'rishon. Safek ben shiva la'acharon. We're not sure. So it turns out in the end, Shimon does Yibbum, and the child is born. The child is a viable child. The child is nice and fine, wonderful. But we're not sure whose child is it. Is it Ruvain's child? And the baby came to full term. Let's say the baby was born, well, for our purposes, early 7 months, and they don't know, is this a full-born child, Ruvain's child? Really, you have to do what's called havchana. You have to wait 3 months. Okay, so let's say they didn't wait the 3 months, or they waited exactly 3 months, okay, to make sure that she wasn't pregnant, and then 6 months later, after the Yibbum, Frum has a baby. And we're not sure, wait, is this 6 months, or is this a 6-month, well-developed child, or a 9-month undeveloped child? So nowadays, medicinally, we know, but they didn't know. Let's say you don't know, you're not sure who the child belongs to. Yotzi, if you're really unsure that maybe Fruma was pregnant from her first husband, then the Biyabim has to divorce her. V'avlad kasher, and the child, we'll assume, is kasher, is not a mamzer. Okay, we're going to assume that it doesn't belong from Safek. We don't assume that the child was born out of wedlock. Either way, because no matter what, if it's Ruvain's child, the child is kasher. If it's not Ruvain's child, the child is kasher. V'chayavim ba'asham talui. They have to bring a korban asham talui. A korban asham, it's a special korban. Shekol davar shechayavin al zono karet. Shigago chatat. This is an isur zadon karet. If you did it on purpose, it's be karet. And if you do it by accident, it's a chatat. But here we don't know. Here they don't know if it's eshet achorach. Chayavin al lo hoda shelo asham talui. If you don't know, then you have to bring a korban called a korban asham talui. It's a special kind of korban that you have to bring for cases of doubt where you're never going to know the answer, what happened, what really happened, and what didn't. So that's the halachic case if you do Yibbum and then she has a baby. Stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.